Oh my goodness, do I love doing those videos. Welcome everyone to our 249th Sunday gathering. It is almost impossible to believe that another year has come to an end. And never fear, Kerry, Phil, and I will be back for our first Sunday gathering of the new year in 2025. But welcome to our Sunday gathering. I know we've got some first timers here with us. I know we've got some friends that have been with us for a lot of the past many years. And wherever you are in that, just a warm welcome to you. I'm Sandra Champlain. I'm joined by my fantastic friends, Carrie McLeod and Phil Dykes. And each week, although some of the players may change, we are out to inspire, to motivate, to empower, to let you know you're never alone, that in the invisible world around you, our loved ones still reside. They still are going after their dreams and learning things, but they can easily keep one foot in our world and one eye on us. So it's so important that we have our medium demonstration as part of our Sunday gathering. And then, of course, Phil, you with some good words to empower you. So the end of this first video, yes, I love to do a little fun with the videos every now and again. We call that a little Sandra magic. There's some to look forward to in other videos here today, not in our healing segment, but in the song before the dem, there's just a little bit. And then I think my favorite is our closing song. So you don't want to miss that. You don't. And what else do I need to say for our beginning here? It's Tammy's birthday, so we can all wish Tammy a happy birthday in the chat box. If it's also your birthday or you're celebrating, let us know. Put it in the chat box. We love to hear from you. So a little bit about today. Our theme really is whatever goes. We're celebrating our community. So between Kerry, Phil, and I will be sharing the address. If we want to talk about resolutions, great. If we want to talk about the end of the year, great, or the new year, great. Whatever we wish to talk about, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a community celebration, though. One of my friends will be doing our opening and closing prayers. I will be sharing a video, I did a little nice video for the reading today, and also leading you into the healing. Carrie and Phil will be doing our demonstration of mediumship, of course, joining me for the address and our words of the week at the end. Yeah, that's it. I'm the hostess with the mostest at the controls, at the music. I'm your DJ, celebrating with a little cool in the gang. But let me turn it over to, I believe, Carrie for our opening prayer.
Thank you very much, Sandra. And the last Sunday gathering of 2024. Who would have thought it, but here we are. So as we enter into today's Sunday gathering, please join me in that moment called prayer. Divine and gracious Spirit, as we enter into this time of year, which signifies the end of one calendar and the beginning of another, allow us to have reflections in our mind and hopes in our heart. Allow us to appreciate what has gone and have excitement in our heart for what's to come. May we also be grateful for those that have joined us on our journeys this year, however short, however long. Allow us to bring within our embrace an understanding that everybody has played their part. And in playing their part, they have taught us, teaching us step by step, supported by and loved by that world unseen. Our family and friends within the spirit world bring us to that place of hope and understanding. Amen.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Instead of a reading, because I just couldn't find the right one, I'm going to play just a short video from a young man. It's a TEDx youth talk. He's 17 years old. He's talking about resolutions. And I thought it was appropriate. Me, myself, I'm not a big fan of resolutions. They're great to make, but it's only like 4 to 10% of people that can actually carry them out. And we end up beating up on ourselves, don't we? So I'd like to play this video for you. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, a young man who's done quite a bit of research. Here, let me play him for you. Here we go. I love that young man, and I love that message. And for me, although we'll be talking about it a little more in the address, it just kind of woke me up to who am I? I like to have fun. If we can add in some fun and if I can do something to share it with other people, all the better. And a good example of that, it was Christmas Eve when Kerry and Phil had their Christmas special, and we were talking about doing some fun videos. Has anyone ever seen them with Phil dancing? And I tell you what, that put just that little spark in me. And that within 24 hours, I did all the music and everything else to prepare for the Sunday gathering. Now, normally it's the day before and it's like, oh, yeah, I got to do it. But to invoke that feeling of surprise and fun. So for me, I'm looking as to, well, where can I add that to other things in my life that I want to make things happen? So maybe for you too, you can start to think about what is it that makes you shine and delight and add that to those things you want to get done. So with that, we're going to move into our healing now. There's a beautiful song by Natasha Bedingfield called Unwritten. This is a version of a cover song of somebody playing that song, but it's the future is not yet written, is it? And I think our souls cry out while we're here for new experiences with people we like and love. And so as we go into our healing, it is a beautiful song. But if we could just take a moment and send some healing to those who need it. I know there's several members of our community with both physical ailments and emotional struggles right now with loved ones who have passed and other difficulties within families and things. If we can keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Also, there's places in the world, pets, animals, areas. And instead of looking at what's wrong, let's look at what's right. Let's picture everyone maybe playing that song. We were celebrating at the beginning, but everyone feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling alive. And let's let those in the unseen world use our energy to direct it to wherever it is needed in the world. So let me play our healing song, and then we'll be back with Kerry and Phil, and then myself for our address. Here we go.
I love that song, and yet I've never heard that version of it. It's a lovely song. It's a song that I used to play a lot, and it reassures us that we don't need to know where we're going. It can just be written. And your video to begin with, Sandra, actually seamlessly linked into what I had been thinking about today's talk about life being a mirror. And the last picture there, the gentleman showed of the cat looking in the mirror. I thought, oh, and we don't know what each other is doing before you set this up. We know the order and that's it. But I've been thinking about how often we reflect at the end of a year and we look backwards and we also plan forwards. But actually, if we hold a special place called reflection, then it's a really valuable place to be. If we ask ourselves, what have I learned? How have I grown? Who have I become this year? Then we can look at life experiences. Because if I were to ask you, have you ever pondered on the thoughts of why the same things keep popping up in your life? I have. The same kinds of people, same kinds of experiences, the same types of behavior or trends in emotions. Maybe you've noticed people being angry or negative, or you've encountered people that always looked at the glass half empty, or created, that person that throws a grenade in and walks away and says, oh, what? Wasn't me. Then I wonder if we were to look in the mirror, how we could change that. Because if we look in the mirror, we can't actually change the mirror. Yeah, all agreed on that? We cannot change the mirror. We can only change what it's reflecting. So if we were to, because we all spend time, I'll speak for myself and Sandra, we all spent time today doing the hair and putting some lipstick on and a little bit mascara. And thank goodness we all remembered to put some clothes on.
Thank God you left me out of that.
And the mirror reflects that back. But if people are behaving a certain way and treating me a certain way, then perhaps there's a part of me inside that's been reflected out there. So I might be loving and kind and generous and thoughtful outwardly, but what if inwardly there was anger, there was conflict, there was grief, there was loss or sadness? Then the mirror's going to reflect that back to me. But if I know what I'm reflecting back to me, then I'm not going to attract to me the same things because I'm aware of it. I'm not calling out for more of the same. I'm actually looking to heal the inside. So if I change my anger to compassion and acceptance, and my loss to appreciation and gratitude, and my sadness into a newfound confidence, you can see where this is going. The mirror is going to reflect back at me how I am on the inside. We can cover up what's in the inside. And it may be, if you're like me, it creeps out every now and then where it gets a little bit too much and these things called tears pop out the eyes. Happens to the best of us. But that's on the inside. If we want to change the experiences and the people around about us, then we have to change on the inside first. So now reflecting back on what this year has given you, some of what life has offered you has had no bearing on how you were. There have been losses, there have been changes and experiences that you had no impact. You could have changed nothing about them. They were out of your control. But what about the things within your control? The people, the work scenarios, the conversations, the relationships. If you were to have a compassionate, generous view within yourself, I wonder if those situations might have changed. I've spent a good few months, and especially the last week or so, looking back at this and wondering, what can I do differently next year? What can I change on the inside of me that will be reflected in the mirror that I take through next year? Now, like many of you, we all have a new year we're walking into, and there are changes. There are people that now reside in the spirit world that used to reside here. There are animals that used to reside in the spirit world that used to reside here. There are people that have illnesses that have changed personalities or physical attributes or the ways in being and behavior they can have. That next year will be a different kind of year for you than this year. If you focus on the one thing that is within your control, I wonder what you can change. I wonder if you were to make the most of everything you were. There's something with pottery, and forgive me if I get the name wrong, kintsugi. If I've got it wrong, please excuse me. It's where bits of gold are put into the cracks of pottery. So pottery is put together and not glued in order to hide the crack. It's put together with gold in the crack to highlight the crack. Imagine if we all had, I don't know if I want to imagine all of us walking about with gold in all the bits that fell apart and we put them back together again. But if everybody did, all our cracks would be on show. That'd be a strange thing to see, wouldn't it? But wouldn't it be curious if we were to say, oh, what's that crack down your neck? What's that crack across your heart? Why is there lots of cracks on your heart? What's that crack on your mind? All of our stories are on show. We just don't know it. We call it the auric field, the etheric envelope, the part of us that's unseen. Everything about us is already there, just doesn't have gold in it. So next year, think about what's inside you. You might want to stop pointing the finger elsewhere and think about, what can I change that might give out a different reflection so that I get different life experiences, different people, different opportunities, and a different mindset. If you set yourself towards this, then next year won't only be different because it is, it'll be different because you are. Thank you.
Thank you for those words, Kerry. And did you make that word up about the gold? No, you didn't. I've heard it before.
No,
one of those things.
I've said it incorrectly.
It's one of those things, though. But I think we all realise and recognise and relate to what Kerry has said there. And particularly that mirror. Because as we look into that mirror, we only see what we want to see. In other words, we're programmed by life. We're shown at a very early age through play how to be, right from wrong. As we start to become that older child, we test the waters, understanding our very needs, our emotions. And as we get to those teenage years, we push those boundaries, don't we? We test those waters, we test those boundaries, we test those limits, and we test our parents' limits as well. But as we start to veer into becoming that young adult, we're told at that point, this is how you should be. This is where you get a job, a career. This is where you have a family with 2.4 children, even where our percentages of our life are written out for us to whatever a normal life is. And then as we start to look back as we get older, what have we created? And when we get even older still, or more mature, we look back and think to ourselves, what legacy are we leaving behind? Well, for me, that is that mirror, because we only see what's expected of us. And sometimes when we look in that mirror, life is so busy, we don't see how tired we are. We don't see how run down we are. And as a mirror can have all kinds of different edges, but it's got a framework to it. Then our life is within a frame of how people expect us to be, how life says we should be, those programs of going to work and earning money. And we forget at times, because we're so busy being busy, how to be happy. And it's only at that point, and let's call it for a namesake, the breaking point, that we look and think, are we happy? Are we doing the things that we love? Are we achieving the things that we want to achieve? An even bigger question, have we achieved when we were in those younger years? Have we achieved them? Have they manifested? Have we materialized them? So we've got to really look within, as Sandra said. We've got to really take a long, hard look. Are we fulfilled in life? Are we joyful? Are we doing things that make our hearts sing? Are we doing things when nobody's looking? Are we singing? Are we dancing? Are we doing those moves that Sandra likes to put in those videos? I know occasionally I see my wife, but don't tell anybody. She does do that. She sings and she dances. And sometimes I intervene and sometimes I let her be, depending on my mood.
Never knew you were watching.
Exactly. You look so happy that I don't want to disturb, because I know in that moment she's living in that moment. She's alive. And we have to remember that this is our one chance at life. We should be alive. We should be dancing. We should be singing. And we shouldn't be worried about who's watching, who's listening. We should just be who we are. Because when we came into this world, we didn't have these worries. We didn't have these limits. We didn't have these controls. We were that bright young thing that smiled, that played, that sang, that had tantrums, that had tears. in those moments. Well, sometimes I think back then we were possibly more alive than we are today because we're doing things that makes us happy. So as we look in that mirror and not just see what our reflection is, but taking the framework of what's caught in that mirror, remember your dreams. Remember those admirations that you wanted to be. Often I say to people, I grew up through the 80s and that's where the real music was. Or people of the 70s and 60s and so on always say that basically that was the era of music. Well, for me, I look back and I lost myself in music sometimes, in films, in TV series. And we can name, and we should really play one Sunday gathering, all the theme tunes of TV series, and like a quiz, see who remembers which one is which. Because if you look back now to those favorite moments, Chips, the Motorcycle Police, Different Strokes, and all the different comedy and comedian programs that made you smile when you heard that music, that you felt alive to, where have those days gone? Because today we're raising children. Today we're earning money. Today we're paying bills. Today we've got taxes that are due. All those things that steal our joy. But do they have to? Myself and Kerry have looked back over the last year and the year before and the year before and thought to ourselves, you know, where's that joy gone? Where's that real inspiration gone? Well, we're going to bring it back because we don't like those limitations of what I call man's mind. The limitations of static science of time. Let's do it tomorrow and tomorrow never comes. Well, let's make sure that we do these things. Let's enjoy a holiday, a true vacation. Like this time of year, we reminisce of our family members that are not here anymore, physically, but through love, through that unseen world, spiritually, they're with us every day and every step of our lives. Our biggest cheerleaders, wanting us to be happy, want to see us enjoying life, and want us to see the true self. But as we sit and we rejoice in this period, look to your left, look to your right. Think about your friends that may not be having the same time as you. And instead of mourning memories, why don't we count ourselves lucky that we've got those memories, that we had those moments? And what would we be doing right now if we lived those moments again, recreating them, enjoying them? I guarantee it would change our lives. It would make us, as Kerry said, look to see those brighter moments. Kerry talked about those cracks and those golds that fill in that crack within us. Those cracks could be deemed as our flaws, where we're not perfect. But that's what we think. But other people see our flaws and don't call them flaws. Unique aspects, qualities, potentials within us that have not been nurtured just yet. And as Sandra would say, and she did say a little bit earlier, about smiling, about being happy, doing things that makes us have joy in our lives. That's what it's really about. Living in the moment, not worried and not saying that there is always tomorrow, but doing it right now, because your thoughts right now create your tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, let's make 2025 1 year, one whole lot of 365 days combined, one enjoyment, one happiness. And let's see, by you living those moments, how you influence others. Because like Kerry, you don't know who's watching and listening in that very moment, and how you might be that step, that spark to transform somebody else's life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you, Kerry. You know, my mom is upstairs, and last night she said she was taking her old calendar and copying the birth dates from her 2024 calendar into her 2025 calendar. So it's big, fairly big print with big blocks. And she said it was so great because she was taking just a walk down memory lane, because in those blocks, and my grandmother used to do the same thing, she would put the highlights from her day or what we did, places we went, or if we went to dinner or great conversation we had. So it was really neat that she was talking about that. And I thought, when a year is over and we're looking back, it might not even be a year, it might be our life, and we're looking back to what the highlights are. There's something interesting that happens when we can do something new with somebody we love. It creates the best type of memory, the easiest to access in our minds. And looking at Kerry and Phil, I can tell you stories of some of the great and fun times we had together that come right up to my mind, and also with my mom upstairs. And I think, I said it earlier about resolutions, going into the new year. It's such a big thing. Oh, what's your resolution? Well, people don't keep them. So why do we even bother, right? What if, because, we human beings are experts on beating up on ourselves, looking in that mirror and seeing what's wrong instead of what's right. But what if, and I'm just throwing this out, you don't have to participate, but maybe you want to, is look for new experiences we can do, preferably with somebody we like or love, or something you've always wanted to do that's new. I really do think that when we came into this planet Earth school, that we forget that we are souls having a divine experience, or a human experience. We're divine souls having a human experience. And we've simply forgotten that. And the more time goes on, the more we should do things. We're expected to be a certain way. As little kids, we never wanted to take a nap. And now as adults, it's like, oh, wouldn't we love to take a nap, right? Or, we're going into New Year's. And here in America, they just did a poll that it's only 6% of the people that actually go out and go to parties and have fun. Everybody else stays at home. Isn't that something, right? Now, when we were younger, we always wanted to get out and do great things. But now, oh, maybe not so much. So what I'm proposing, and I am proposing this, is that we look for opportunities to create, not opportunities to make ourselves wrong for not giving up the chocolate or not walking 6 miles a day every day, or whatever those resolutions are. But if you want to make a resolution, make resolutions to plan fun things with people you love, new things. There was a $1 billion lottery that just happened on Friday night. Now, I didn't win it. But I did spend a little time thinking, well, if I did win it, what would I do? And it's interesting because I think let me put it this way. I think a complaint a lot of us have is we don't have the money to do what we want to do. But have we really ever identified what we'd want to do? Now, it might not be the things we do. It could be who we're being. So you heard from me earlier that I love surprises. I do. I love to do something that'll put a smile on somebody's face. I do. I love to learn. I love to be creative. I love to share with my friends. So the resolution could be doing more of that, but how to do that, right? So if we could look at our year ahead, looking for, well, those people we love in our life, or opportunities maybe to meet new people and doing new things. I think when we have our Sunday gathering number, what would it be? 300 and something, that we're looking back and go, wow, what a year 2025 was. We can pull out our calendars and look to see all the new and different things that we did. And it doesn't mean we have to travel the world, because I know that's not feasible for people, but reading new books, watching movies, getting creative in the arts, whatever you want to do, cooking up a storm, trying a new drink, I don't know. But who's willing to try this with me in 2025? Type it in the chat box if you are. You don't have to say what you're doing, but if you want to, if there's something you wanted to try, do it. Now, I want to just remind you who you are. Kerry and Phil talked a little bit about the mirror. That mirror likes to pick out things that, are wrong and bad and all that stuff. But if I were to ask you to write down on a piece of paper all the good things about you, if you ask people, what are the good things about you? What are the good attributes? Well, yeah, I'd have you write them all down. And then I'd also have you write down, what successes have you had in life? Oh, and you'd write them down and you'd think of them and you'd just be writing. And then I want to remind you, that's who you really are. You're not who that ego mind says when you look in the mirror. You are a divine, wise, fun to be with, awesome human being. And there's so much life left to be lived, no matter how old you are. So all I want to add is just going into this year, don't make yourself wrong. Don't try not to. I know we all do set resolutions and they're setting us up for failure sometimes, but have a different kind of game. Look for something new, something creative, something that you get to have some joy with somebody you care about. And it doesn't have to be physical. You can do stuff over Zoom. You can. But record those memories. Take that walk back down by memory lane and remember who you truly are. There's so much life to be lived. And I tell you, I think, and I really do believe this, that our souls here on earth, we want to learn new things. We want to explore. There's all kinds of emotions, good, bad, and indifferent. But when we get back home to the other side, we get to compare. This is what I did. This is what I learned. So let's make 2025 a year about going after some of those dreams, having those new experiences, and adding the people we love to them, because there's nothing quite as fun. So that's all I have to share as our address, as in our last Sunday gathering of 2024. So thank you for listening to Kerry, Phil, and myself. We're going to go into our demonstration of mediumship now. And this is just time to rejoice and see that our loved ones really are with us, that they continue to live, they're part of our lives. So I want to describe how this goes, as I know we have some new members of our community here with us for the very first time, and a refresher course for everybody else. Now, Kerry and Phil are longtime mediums. They're the best tutors in the business, and of course, they're my best friends, so I love sharing them. They've worked very hard, not only for you and I here on this earth, but more importantly for our friends in the unseen world. We have technology, we can type, we can talk, we can call, we can text, all of that. It's not so easy for our loved ones to communicate. Sure, they try, right, to come into our dreams or just give us those gentle little messages, but sometimes the information isn't clear. So to have a good medium reading, it can be life-changing. It truly is. So whether you're at our Sunday gathering or you book a private reading with somebody, there's a couple details that are important. First, we want to let the medium do the work. So you'll see Kerry and Phil, well, however they connect with the spirit world in their own way. Those our spirit friends will use their thoughts, their memories, their feelings. They might put pictures in their mind. They might play a song. They might give them a taste of a hot fudge sundae. I don't know, but they'll give them a description of themselves in their own special way. Kerry or Phil will give us the description of the person, maybe the relationship, or maybe a few details about them. We want everybody to listen. Be on the edge of your seat. Yes, be on the edge of your seat, because our friends and family in the spirit world know just who's at our Sunday gathering today. Even if you don't think anybody's watching, they know you're here. So the messages come through for people in our gathering today. So listen in close. If you can recognize the description of the person that they described, who lives now in the spirit world, if you can understand 100% of the description of the person, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is time for you on whatever device you have to find that raise hand button. If you're on a computer, you should just see it. There's a hand like this. If you're on some other device, you might see a few dots. And you might have to press that first, and then that raise hand button will appear. So go ahead and press it if you'd like. Press it a few times, see what happens. It'll say raise hand, then it'll say lower hand, raise hand, lower hand. And this is audience participation right now, so feel free to press that raise hand button, even though you've been here 249 times before. I get it. Why this is important is sometimes there's more than one person that can understand all the information about the person that Kerry or Phil has described. In which case, they will continue to give more details about the person. And if you find that one of those details, it just doesn't fit for you, you want to lower your hand. We have well over 150 people with us, so it is important that we get to the right person. So we just ask you to have that integrity. please just press your raise hand button if you can understand all the information. And if not, if nobody raises their hand, Kerry and Phil will continue to work so that we get to the right person. So fear not. Now, if you are somebody who works with our medium today or with a medium in the future, again, let them do the work. So what this looks like is all we need from you is a yes, no, or I don't know. Now, on my side, I'm going to press a button. You'll get a pop-up on your screen, and it'll ask you to unmute yourself. You don't see that button now, but I'll press my magic button here, so you'll be able to do that. And so that's all with the medium. Let them do the work. You be honest. Yes, I can understand that information. No, I can't. Or you might have to say, I don't know. You may not know something about a person. For the rest of us, obviously, there's a lot more people here today than will get a reading. Our friends in the spirit world act very much like Kerry, Phil, and myself. We try to deliver messages that can impact everybody. And if you pay close attention to our friends that come through from the spirit world, boy, if you can take a little bit of the advice that they give or the evidence of how close they are, and you can know for yourself that your loved ones are still by your side, please take that on board. It's not just the people who get readings today that have their loved ones around, it's all of us. So these folks from the spirit world really do speak on behalf of all of our loved ones, letting us know that they haven't died, that they're still healthy, well, and whole. They're still around. They're continuing to learn and grow and have an adventure in the spirit world, but they're easily by our side and they're with us so often. They truly, truly are. So please, any of the readings, any of the evidence or any of the messages that come through, please pull them towards yourself. That's what I like to do. I always say, oh, I could use a little bit of that. Thank you very much. I'm taking it. All right. So before we go into the demonstration, we always like to play a feel-good piece of music. And, I'm feeling pretty good right now, kind of like I'm walking on sunshine. There's a hint. Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine. We're going to play the song. It's just an opportunity to just imagine your loved ones by your side. That's how they come through to us, really, with our feelings and with our thoughts and our memories. They're right here with us. So just have a little walk on sunshine with me, and then we'll be back with our demonstration of mediumship with Kerry and Phil. So let me play Katrina in the Waves. Here we go. Well,
Kerry said I missed it, so I kept my eyes closed because I knew what you were up to.
Not to worry, I'll send it to you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure to be here and always a pleasure to serve the spirit world. And we never know what is going to be said, how they're going to come forward and give their impressions and their evidence. It's only down to you guys. So I want you to engage with me. I want you to put your hands up. I want you to, if you understand it, come forward and we can work through it here. Okay, that's fine. I've got a lady shouting in my ear. I know her name is Margaret and she wants to come forward. I know that she's mum, and I also know, as I work with Margaret, that she is a little bit of a force to be reckoned with. And there should be memories of being told off by her. But I also feel here, it wasn't just necessarily the family. I do feel it's either people external to the family, like neighbors or people she knew, but I know there's that sense to her. So I know her mum, I know her name's Margaret, I know she's that force to be reckoned with. I also feel as well with her that she was a lady that really didn't want to talk about illness, because she's given me this last, because it feels here there was a cancerous condition that took her to the spirit world as well. So I know as I become aware of her, this is what she gives me. So if you understand it, put your hand up, or if I understand it and I've given it a slightly wrong way, put your hand up as well. We'll work through it.
Thank you so much, Phil. All right, who understands this information or most of this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button for us, please. No hands up just yet.
That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Because I can't change, because I know I heard that. Oh, there we go. Somebody's come forward.
It always happens. I should wait one more second. Benjamin, if you would press your unmute button. Hi, Benjamin.
Hi.
Hello, Benjamin. Should you understand everything I've said?
Yes, only the name. Could it be a different name?
It possibly could be. Let me work with it. I did hear Margaret. So do you understand a Margaret, though, in the spirit world or here?
In the spirit world, yes.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine, because I know I heard that name being called. I did feel it was in the spirit world, to be honest. But I feel with this lady, and she did feel like mum. Did that make sense to you as well, Benjamin?
Yes.
That's fine, because I know here as well. But I also know, like I said, she was a force to be reckoned with. You didn't argue back with her.
Yes.
And I also feel as well, it's almost where she expected high standards as well.
Maybe.
When I say high standards, I feel it's in fact, let me just work on this a little bit, because I want to talk about here about ethics and morals as well with her. So I know when she talks about standards, that's what it was about, Benjamin.
Maybe.
Maybe. Would I be also right in saying that she liked her music?
Not really.
Not really, because I know
special.
that song that's just been played seems to still resonate with me, and it's held within her as well. So I know she would have always looked on the most positive side of things.
Yes.
Because I know here where you said no, she wouldn't take it. So I know she is that strong-minded individual as well. But I also feel here that she was a lady that you had to get to know well. If you didn't know her, she wouldn't open up straight away.
Correct.
Because again, as I get to know her, it's almost where I've got to be gentle with her and not push. Because if you push, you're met with that resistance, that strong side of her. Because I get that impression. But I know here, like I said, morals and ethics are important. And I also know there's that sense of being organized with your mum as well.
Correct. Yes.
Because again, it's that impression. I've got to take my time. So I know she liked to bring things across correctly as well.
Yes.
And it's almost where, when I talked about high standards, I want that from you as well. So I know it's all about giving you time to express yourself.
Yes.
Let's just look at this for a second. Would I also be right in saying your mum was a lady that would normally do things her own way as well?
Yes.
Because it's almost where I don't want to conform, but I want to do it in my time. So I know she was a thinker, and I know she liked to work through things. And if I also said where mum was concerned, the family was one of the biggest things to her.
Yes.
Because she makes me aware of this time of year about having family together. So there must be memories of where the family came together to celebrate.
Yes.
And it's almost where it's not just about coming together, it's actually a celebration that was done routinely in a way, and people were expected to come as well.
Yes.
Because it's almost a sense if you're not there, there'd be reasons and questions why. And there must be memories of your mum talking to people, taking her time, talking to each individual.
Yes.
Because I know here it's mum's way of making sure everyone's okay, getting to understand everybody of what's going on in their lives as well. But I want to say, as we're not meant to, mum had her favourites though.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to talk about you in particular, because it feels here where she would light up, her eyes would light up, and nothing else really mattered when it came to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's almost like I keep on hearing the words and the impression in my mind, my little soldier. So I'm sorry to embarrass you, Benjamin, but it's almost my little soldier. So I know here she doted on you.
Yes, yes.
And would I also be right in saying that your mother was very practical and thoughtful with the gifts that she gave as well?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to go back here to a childhood memory. Your mum must have bought you little soldiers, little action figures.
Hmm.
And the little action figures, I want to say, they are soldiers. So there must have been... bear with me one second. Would I be right saying, Benjamin, with you, she would have memories of you either collecting figures or building, what is it? The mind's gone blank here. It's almost where I collected things. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, I can't remember soldiers,
but
but I
d-
collected things.
bear with me, because I know there's collections. I know she impresses upon me, but it's almost where there should be. Thank you. She keeps on bringing a memory back of mine where I used to have a soldier on a parachute. So I know it's almost like a little gift, and we just throw it out the windows or over the banister or whichever. Would you remember that?
No, don't
You
remember that.
don't. Okay. Hold that within your mind, because I know there's an impression of that as well, because I'm checking it in different ways, but I want to keep it as it is here. Mum had a memory that would always recall things. She never forgot things.
Yes.
Because I know here where you're saying no, she's saying yes. And I know there's that impression here. But I also want to say as well, she was a very sentimental lady.
Yes.
And it's almost little gifts and things were important to her, not the price tag, but the gesture in particular.
Yes.
Because I know there's that impression here. And it's those little things that she tried to install in you that appreciates, where you appreciate life and the little things it can offer that keep you feeling good inside.
Yes.
Because I know she's taking credit for this. Now, you're the Benjamin that likes Sandra's animations, aren't you?
Yes.
Because I know here she's just shown me things running through my mind, and it's these simple things, these things that Sandra loves to do, that just fills you and brings that inner kid, that inner child out in you. Because I know Mum loved to see you enjoying yourself and playing as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And would I be right, just one last thing before I move, that we used to go and visit either grandparents as well with
Yes.
Mum.
Mhm.
And there would be memories of you playing underneath the table at grandparents' house.
I can't remember.
Because I know here there should be, and please get in touch with me, because I know there should be either a little tin that had soldiers in, and I know this is where it seems to come from. So hold that within your mind as well. But I know your mum just wants to come in right now, give you that hug and that upliftment, but fill your heart with that inspiration and let you know how special you are. So I'm going to leave that with you, Benjamin, and say thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.
You're absolutely welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
It's nice to hear a voice that we see so many messages of fun on the chat.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So as I become aware of the spirit world once more, I keep on hearing the name of Susan. And again, I feel either that's not clear for me. So I'm just going to stay with Susan for a moment. But I just feel here that Susan passes to the spirit world very quickly. It's almost there was no warning or no real signs of it. And there's just something quick about that. But I also feel here as well, I'm just saying to the spirit world, that's not good enough for me. I need something that little bit better because it's not been made clear to me. I actually feel that Susan, I'm going between, I need you to be clear. I want to talk about either should be Mum's name, but I feel that either somebody else is named after in the family as well, because something here is not sitting just with one relationship. So I know there should be more than one person in the family called Susan as well. In fact, I feel I want to push this and say I want to be talking to a Susan here. So hopefully there's a Susan here. But I get the impression as well. Let's just have a look as well. That little bit more from you. I also know with Mum that you can't make her do anything that she doesn't want to do either, because I know as I resist, she resists as well. I'm just asking for that little bit more with her. In fact, I feel I've made a mistake here. I want to change the relationship to either sister or something, because I know here there's a impression of this. A little bit more if you can for me, please. I also know with her, she keeps on giving me the month of November, which should be for her birthday as well. This makes sense. Oh, we've got somebody with their hand up.
We have Nina with her hand raised. And if this makes sense to anyone else, please press your raise hand button.
Sorry, I was about to lower because I cannot take November as her birthday month.
Bear with me then, Nina. If it's not, because it's just, like, is there somebody else here? There's Susan W. as well. Just
We have
hold on, Nina,
Susan and
while we bring
Fusan
somebody in.
with their hands raised. And he did ask for Susan. We checked
I did.
her. Susan, if you could press your unmute button. Fusan, you just keep, oh, I accidentally muted you there, Susan. Try that one more time. Too quick with the fingers. Susan, would you hit that unmute button one more time? You had it there a moment ago. There you are. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Susan. Do you understand everything I've said?
Well, somebody is on the other side of the veil. I don't know when her birthday is. She was my late boyfriend's aunt, and she has the same name as I.
So Susan, in the spirit world, your name is Susan, but you're not sure of the birthday month. Okay, good. Hold that. That does feel okay, but Fusan's going to hand up as well. So stay there, keep on muted for me, and we'll just work through this as well. I'll be quick as I can.
Hi, Fusan.
Oh, hi, Sandra. Hi, Phil, Kerry.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes, the birthday, absolutely. The sister, yes. And she
The name of
trying
Susan?
to say, well, my name is Fusan. A lot of Americans think it's Susan because it's not an American name. So
Okay.
she could be trying to say my name as close.
But we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, but the other
her
two.
name in the spirit world, was she called Susan though as well?
No, some of
No.
the letters absolutely match.
That's
but
fine. It's fine. I'm going to work. It doesn't feel quite right. I'm going to work between
Okay.
Nina and Susan just for a second, because I did make a statement as well about that birthday month, which I know Susan acknowledged. But I also know she was quite stubborn with me as well. Susan, would that make sense? Where she was very strong or single-minded?
I didn't know her. I never met her.
You never met her. Let me check. I can hardly hear you. Let me check with Nina. Does this make sense? Where she was quite strong-minded, Nina?
Yes, extremely.
That's fine. That's where I want to be, because I know here it feels better with Nina. Okay, so thank you, Susan. Thank you, Fusan. And I know you couldn't understand the birthday of her in November, but there must be birthdays in that month.
Yes, there are.
That's fine, because I know here there's something that still feels right about that with you as well. But with this lady, would you understand with Susan, she could be not just strong-minded, but she could be quite, not argumentative, but she could hold her ground.
Yes.
Because each time I wanted, it's not good enough, because that's me. It's almost a sense of coming back, well, you're going to have to deal with it. So I know here she wouldn't back down.
Correct.
And I also believe as well, not that she was... I want to call egotistical, but she did what she wanted to do, and it took a strong person to shift her.
I'm gonna say yes to the thing you didn't want to say, and yes to the rest.
Okay, that's fine, because I know here I'm trying to be polite because I don't want to offend anybody, but I know there's a real, almost like reverence with her. You will do as I say it. You will do what I want, and you understand?
Oh, yes.
Because again, there's a side to her that it makes me very uncomfortable, and I would not be like this myself, but I know there's that impression. But it's almost with her, it's not a second thought, because it's just who she is.
Correct.
And I also believe as well, she spoke her mind, which didn't go down well with everybody.
That's right.
And I also know you would have memories of being with her where she did speak her mind, and you saw people's faces as well.
Oh, yes.
And I also know people walked out and left, and she was like, well, I'm only being honest.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But I also feel as well that she wasn't just like this with people she knew. She was like this out in the street.
Yes.
And it feels where we've been out and we used to go shopping or into busy places with people with her.
Into busy places, yes.
That's fine, because I know here it's almost like I'm pushing past people, I'm over talking people, and I'm just, this must have been a shopping experience.
There would have been shopping involved, but that's not the main thing now.
That's not the main thing, but I know here it's almost like somebody's looking and she would just grab it and take it. That's who she is, because she wanted it as well. Also, I feel with her that she would not see anything wrong with the way that she was.
That's right.
And I also believe that people tried to talk to her about this, but didn't succeed.
I'm sure they did.
Okay. But I also feel as well that she was a good friend to you, though.
No.
Oh, bear with me 1 second. If I said that she wasn't the best with her emotions, would you understand?
Yeah.
And it's almost where I can't understand that. It's almost a sense with her that I do things for me, but I think it's helping others.
Correct.
Because again, when you said no, she's like a good friend. It's almost like, no, there's something wrong here, because that's the way that she felt. But I know it's understanding how she was as well. But would I be correct in saying she would also knew your dad?
She did.
Because I know there's a gentleman with her, and I know it's the presence of her dad, but I didn't feel hers, I felt yours. And I feel here, I did say this was mum, didn't I?
You said it was mom at first. Yes.
Yeah, then went to sister. That's fine. My mind's confused because she's got me all over the show. This is how she will get with people all the time, though.
Oh, God, yes.
Correct. Because she's just driving me one thought to another thought, and I can't keep up with her. But I know this is how she is as well. So I know here there seems to be, I've got to say this, she would never show signs of weakness, would she?
Correct.
But I know, and she wouldn't apologize either.
That's right.
But I know she's admitting regret, and she needs to acknowledge here forgiveness. So I know there was harsh words said to you as well.
Right.
And I also know there was hard actions by her that weren't in your favor. And I know she's apologizing for that. And I know she doesn't need forgiveness, but she's asking for that forgiveness deep in your heart. And I'm going to leave her love with you, and thank you for allowing me to do that for you. One last thing, you must have come across a Christmas card for her just recently. I know you're saying no, and I know she's saying yes. Just bear with me. There must be old cards that you've kept.
No.
Really good no. I don't believe you, though, because she's absolutely adamant here. She's given me that impression. You're correct, I'm wrong. She's just admitted something to me. There's an acknowledgement here where either you refused or both of you refused to talk to each other for a while.
That's correct.
And it's almost where you either cards were exchanged but never accepted.
No.
No, you don't understand that? I know I'm correct.
No, I don't understand that.
There seems to be something here that is very personal about either cards not being given or exchanged for a period of time.
There's a thing, but I'm being a good recipient.
Good. I'm glad on you, because she's not explaining it. She won't go into it. She's absolutely adamant, sort of thing. But again, this is her not acknowledging those things are being wrong. So I'm going to leave her love with you and say, thank you for allowing me to do that, Nina. Lovely to speak to you, and I hope the family is well.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time, because I know we run out of time. I'm going to pass over to my lovely wife, Kerry McLeod.
Thanks so much,
Very
Phil.
good.
Hello, Kerry.
Hi. So for the last time this year, I know there's no such thing as time in the spirit world, but it does seem strange saying for the last time this year. Okay, I've got a gentleman with me, and he came in, and I was so engrossed in Phil's contacts that I forgot that he'd presented himself, but he's just represented himself to me. I do get a sense that he has not been in the spirit world long. I do feel that there has been an illness with him. I feel like this would be dad or stepdad. And I do feel that who I need to speak to has been involved in his funeral or celebration of life celebrations. I do feel that Dad's not long in the spirit world.
Thank you, Kerry. If you can understand this information, press your raise hand button. I do see Dara with her hand raised. Dara, if you could press your unmute button, please. Hello. And Julie's got her hand raised just now as well.
Okay. For those that are not putting their hands up because somebody already has, don't not do it. There's a double negative. Do it. But I also know that one of you would also know of, I do feel Dad would have been a little bit tongue-tied with his words, and I know the name David is within his family.
Dara, do you understand that?
The tongue-tied with his words?
And David in the family?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel I got dad or stepdad. I feel like he is not long in the spirit world at all. I also know that there is the name David in the spirit world is so close to Dad.
All right. I'm going to lower everybody's hands because about 8 hands just went up. So if you can take 100% of that information, go ahead and press your raise hand button again for us.
I'm going to change one thing. I actually feel David's here, not in the spirit world. I know I said the spirit world, but I feel David's here. And Dad in the spirit world, I know he's not been there long. When I say not there long, I'm looking at the tail end of November into December, no further, no earlier than that. This feels very, very recent.
All right. One hand remains, which is Belinda. Belinda, if you could press your unmute button, and thank you everyone for listening in. Belinda?
Hi, Belinda.
She's looking for that unmute button. Try that one more time, Belinda. You should see an unmute button.
That was
There you are.
that was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. No problem. We saw your hand raised. Thank you.
Okay.
With the November, December passing, I think that's when all the hands went down.
Feels very, very recent. It feels like Dad is here. He's wanting to say, I'm here, I got here. If I move it into November, I can't move it too much sooner. I don't know what. I feel very tongue-tied. I feel, oh, if I move it into October, but I do feel it's very recent. So anybody that had their hand up before, that their dad sadly has just recently passed the spirit world, or stepdad.
All right, Kim, you have your hand raised. Kim C, if you press your unmute button, Kim. Hi, Kim.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Hi, Kim. You understand everything that I've said?
Yes, I think so. I
Okay.
the very first few things, maybe not, but I do.
Okay. I'm so sorry for, if this is your dad or not, I'm so sorry for your loss, Kim. It's such a tough thing to happen, and to everybody else's dads who have recently transitioned. Your dad would have been a very thoughtful man.
Yes, he was thoughtful.
Because he didn't want to give me too much. He's wanting to acknowledge that he's there, but he also doesn't want to upset you. I know that you have been heavily involved in his celebration of life or his funeral arrangements.
Yes, he just passed on Friday. And I actually said, I know we're just supposed to answer yes or no, but I want to just tell you that I actually said to him, I knew that he doesn't really believe he doesn't believe the same thing I believe. And I said, give me a sign.
Okay, I can guarantee you that your dad is a believer. Absolutely.
He was.
I know that he would have had this period of illness. I also know that you would have
Yes.
spoken words to him of support and kindness and love in those last few moments where you thought he didn't hear you.
Yes.
You must have also told him to go to the light, because he's
Yeah,
laughing at that. He's
yeah,
laughing at the
actually,
old analogy of I went to the light, I went to the light. He
yes.
had a
And
lovely sense of humor though, Kim.
yes, he did. He definitely did.
He's joking with that. And you've also asked him to let you know what it's like in heaven.
Yep.
And I know you know the song, that Walking on Sunshine? He's actually, he's singing I'm Walking in the Air, that Snowman song. I know that he will make his contact with you, Kim. I know that there are some really tough days to come, but please know this is your dad's way of, he would never let you down. And this is his way of keeping his word to you.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to leave that with you, Kim, and all our best with you and to everybody else whose loved one has transitioned at this time.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Kim, thank you. Okay. All right. I do have another gentleman here, and I want to say, I do have a gentleman here, and I know that he would have dressed up as Santa Claus. I want to say that he would have had one of those, because it looks very, very realistic. One of those beards that would have gone up behind, and the wigs and the outfit. I do feel like this outfit isn't just a sort of throwaway thing. It's something that is there, and it's got its own padding in it. I know that I had the name David before, but I feel like I'm looking for, I don't know if we've got a Dave, but I feel like I'm looking for a Dave, or somebody here would understand a Dave.
Thank you very much. If you understand this information, go ahead and press your raise hand button. All right, we have Kay and Laura with their hands raised.
Would either one of these people understand this as Dad? Take your hand down if you do not understand this as Dad.
Thank you. Kay and Laura both have their hands raised.
And you both understand the name Dave here? Okay.
Both hands are up. And then we have a Dave with his hand raised as well.
Can I speak to Dave if his dad is in the spirit world and his dad used to dress as Santa Claus?
Dave, I'm bringing you in to see if you can take that information. Dave, you can press your unmute button. Hi, Dave.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Dave, you understand the information about your dad?
Not about the Santa Claus.
Do you understand another gentleman that's in the spirit world that dressed up as Santa Claus?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay. Thank you, Dave, for putting your hand up. Can I speak to Kay, please? Because I think Kay had her hand up initially.
Kay, if you could press your unmute button. And everybody keep listening in, because our loved ones
Okay,
are
Kay.
around.
Okay, Kay?
Okay.
You understand everything I've said?
I can, yes.
Okay. And you understand that your dad would have dressed as Santa Claus?
When I was very small.
Okay, but it would have been either your memory of it being very realistic, or it was a very realistic Santa Claus outfit.
It's more about my dad looked like Santa Claus.
All right, because I actually want to say, I couldn't see the join of the beard, which is why I thought it was all the way round and connected. I know with your dad as well, he did have a whole personality, though. He was very good at the whole thing.
In the early days.
Because I get the sense with your dad that he would have I know he would have been a personality, but I need to say there are times, hey, you would know your dad was an absent father at times.
He was absent, yes.
Because his whole demeanor has suddenly changed. And I know that I suddenly feel like one of those bad Santas that didn't do what Santa Claus was meant to do. And I feel like he actually missed lots of your Christmases.
Absolutely.
I don't feel like it was absent because he passed, okay? I feel it was absent because he physically wasn't with you.
Correct.
Because with your dad, there seems to be part of his personality that could just switch off.
Yes.
Because I feel like there is almost a switching off and just carrying on with life. And I get the sense from him that there are some things that you've found of his after his passing, or that you've been given subsequent to his passing.
Found.
Sorry, was that a yes, Kay?
Yes, found. Found, not been given, found.
Okay, because I know it fills in some of the gaps and confirms some understandings you had, but it doesn't paint him in a good light. I know he doesn't seem to feel very good about how he behaved.
That would be correct.
I also get the sense that you have found a photograph of him with him in front of a car, him standing the car's side on, and he's in front of it, and it feels like quite an old photograph.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I also know your dad must have liked the odd little bit of alcohol.
Absolutely.
More than just a little nip of whiskey at New Year's and on Hogmanay.
Daily.
Because I can hear him slurring his words, but I also know that he would have, you would have memories of him trying to sing.
Yes, very much.
But it's that, that singing way that people do when they've had the odd little bit of alcohol and they think they're the best singer ever.
Yes, that's true.
It feels and sounds like that. I know with your dad, there's an incredible burden he carries, and he's incredibly apologetic. I can't prove this, but I feel it. He's incredibly apologetic that he's left so many questions unanswered. I do believe you still have a birthday card that he would have given you.
Yes.
I also feel like there are Christmas cards that you would have got from your mum, from your dad. So your dad gave them to mum for you, and you've now got them.
Yes.
Okay. I know there's no way that we can heal hearts, but at this time of year especially, I feel this time of year specifically, Kay, is incredibly important to your dad, because it had to be this one and no other one that he spoke to you. And I know he is working incredibly hard on doing what you're asking from the spirit world, but also trying to make amends. And I know he's close with you. And Kay, you've recently also sadly had a transition to spirit world in your family.
No, we're just waiting on it happening. Or it may have happened and I've not heard, but it could be today, it could be tomorrow.
But I feel that person's already in that process, because I know
Yes.
your dad is wanting to reassure you when that time comes, everybody will be there for them. Do
Thank
not
you.
worry.
Thank
Do
you.
not worry. Okay, Kay, I'm so sorry for your loss at the moment. It's never easy, but thank you for allowing me to do that on behalf of your dad in the spirit world.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. It is an incredibly special time. And we know that there's lots of people, especially at this time of year, who've had people pass between Christmas and New Year, or have lost people, or as in Kay's situation, that there is transitions happening. Our thoughts, Sandra, Phil, and our thoughts are with you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kerry, and thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We still have more Sunday gathering to go. We've got some announcements. We've got some words for the week from Kerry and Phil. We've got a closing prayer, and then we've got a video that you may not want to miss. With that, I've got some announcements. First of all, I know many of you have a copy of my book, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. Going into 2025, it's kind of a handbook for living. There's a lot of good, helpful tips and tricks of empowerment. But not only that, if you haven't read it, chapter 10 is about grief, and there's some very powerful tools to help move through that grieving process. If you've ever purchased a class or demonstration with us, on the We Don't Die website, you already have a copy of it in your library. If you'd like a copy of it, PDF copy, you can either email me, sandrachamplain@gmail.com, or be sure to enter your name and your email address on the very bottom of the front page at wedon'tdie.com. It says you get the first few chapters, but the secret is it is the entire book. We want to give you everything possible to empower you and help you. And grief it's a bear. Truly is. Some announcements. First of all, Kerry and Phil's website, you may want to know, mymediumship.com. Very friendly people, lots of good classes coming up. We have some great things coming up this coming week, and then we've got some new classes coming up. So I'll tell you about it all. First of all, tomorrow, Monday, our friends Kath and Mitch Shirley are offering what's called a free grief cafe. Starts at whatever time it is right now, wherever you are. So where I am, Eastern United States, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So it starts at this time. It is 90 minutes. It's not recorded. If you're experiencing grief, if you want to know more about grief, if you want a safe place to share, they are both mediums and they're also advanced grief recovery specialists. They're two great people. They're very caring, and it just can share some things about grief that can really help on the journey. That's free. That is tomorrow. On Tuesday, our dear friends Kerry and Phil are doing a New Year's Eve 1-hour community event. We had done it on Christmas Eve. As soon as I'm done with the announcements, I'll pop it in the chat box, the registration link to be part of that. It will start the same time we started today. Bring a cup of good cheer if you like. It's just sharing stories and some fun about the holiday. Also coming up, let me see, this coming Saturday, Scott Milligan, Dominic Bogue, and myself will be together for an afterlife event. I'll be sharing the top reasons to believe in the afterlife, followed by 2 demonstrations of mediumship. Next Sunday, Kerry, Phil, and I will be together again for the very first Sunday gathering of 2025. It'll also be number 250. Our new classes have been opened up. They will start the second week in January with our friend Scott is Trance in the Altered States. You find yourself with your eyes closed a lot in that class, blending with the love from the unseen world. We've got a great new New Year's class starting with Kerry and Phil on Wednesdays called The Power of Your Soul. So again, throw out those resolutions or make them work using the full power of your soul. Because yes, we are divine souls having a human experience. You use some of your psychic abilities, and there's so much in that. You're going to love it. On Thursdays, for our medium students or medium psychic students wannabe, we offer connecting with the soul and the spirit world. It's a developmental class, whether you're a beginner or whether you're well on the journey. You get really good practice in how our souls perceive information psychically and mediumistically. And guess what? You give and receive readings as part of it. It's fun. It's wonderful. I was talking about trying new things that you haven't done before that give great memories. And there's nothing like these because you get to really see that you are a powerful soul and that your loved ones are around. Everything you can find is at wedon'tdie.com. Just click on the store page. Of course, on the Sunday gathering page, you'll find past episodes, past gatherings. You can also register for next week. And a special shout out to our friends who have donated to make our Sunday gathering possible. We really appreciate you guys and gals. It gets expensive. We don't pass around a plate or anything, but please know that we really, really do appreciate it. So thank you very much. So I'm going to turn it over to Kerry and Phil for some words from the week. And I am just going to pop that registration in the chat box for Tuesday with Kerry and Phil.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Let's say one big thank you to Sandra Champlain, because she does so much for people throughout the year, not just the Sunday gathering, throughout the year. And I know myself and Kerry are very appreciative of that. And I know that there's a lot that goes into the back end of the scene sort of thing. So, and she gets great joy from it. Do not think that for a moment. It really does fill her heart with so much joy. But let's talk about this Christmas period, and let's talk about this new year that is approaching. Let's live it where we're happy. Let's rejoice in memories where we've shared with people. Let's be loving and very genuine for those memories that you have made, but also understanding from those memories, we can inspire ourselves to live a better life. So here's to 2025 being the best year of our lives, and we all succeed, and we'll all meet up at some point. And when we get to the end of 2025, we won't just be participants, we will be friends, and we will be celebrating each other's success.
I like the sound of that, celebrating each other's success. Whatever success means to you, success is having the best life ever. This is a really difficult time, but it's also a really fantastic time. God has given us another day. Now, whether you think it's a man sitting on a chair or some universal intellect somewhere out there in the ether, he's given us another day. I, like Phil, like Sandra, and like you, all have people in the spirit world that would rather be here. Yes, but they're not. The spirit world always come forward giving words of support and love, and for us to live our best lives. Now, we've had conversations, and I've got quite angry with God. You know that feeling. And yet resigned to the fact that we are living here physically, and that we'll see our loved ones in the spirit world again. No doubt about that. So when times are really tough, pull up your socks. Imagine that they're multicolored striped ones that go right up and over the knee. Anything that puts us, I don't have them on right now.
I'm going to say no.
Anything that puts a smile on your face. It is tough, and it's a really tough time of the year. But the spirit world want us to be happy. They want us to live a full and healthy life. They want us to live the best life ever and to do the things that we want to do and have no regrets about not doing those other things. So yes, there are reasons for the tear of sadness to come, but there are also reasons of tears of gladness. Let's find those, because life's better when you smile. Thank you.
And it's that time of this Sunday gathering that we go into what we call that final prayer, that closing prayer. So if you can join me by bowing your heads, praying to that God that you believe in, but also knowing that your loved ones are around you. Great infinite spirit, we've stood together in your light and your love, the love that uplifts us, the love that makes us be happy. We ask for that united love to inspire us, to make this world a better place. to help us be a better person, but most of all, to cherish the memories that we've all shared with those people that are here and in the unseen world, knowing there is no divide between us, that it is love that connects that bridge and that bond between us all. And Father, we ask for that love to become even stronger in the few days coming up to the end of the year, to inspire us for that year to be a better year for us all. Amen.
Thank you so much, Phil. And thank you, Kerry. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen who are with us. And thank you to our loved ones in the spirit world. As we go into our closing song, it's a perfect song for what I was talking about, trying new things. Shakira singing Try Everything from the movie Zootopia. Now, there's some things about Kerry, Phil, and myself that you may not know that we've done in the past, that we've tried some new things. So there'll be a little slideshow, first with myself, then with Kerry, and then with Phil. And you can just see, and I'm sure they have great stories to tell about their adventures and the new things that they've tried and how it's impacted their life. So let me find this closing video for you. A few things you didn't know about us. I hope you'd enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed our year of Sunday gatherings. Please join us next week. Kerry and Phil, mwah, love you guys. Always such a privilege to be with you. Happy New Year, everyone. We will see you
New Year.
next
Happy New
year.
Year.
Bye.